It's where we're going to have to focus our eyes on P3 and P5. Jano Jada, expect him to get off the line well also.
And he does.
Bit of wheel spin on the outside though for Lockie Hughes.
Wow, Lockie Hughes goes straight to the inside, running right down the dirty wall there and into the lead of the race. He's gazumped Jackson Evans, and Jaden Ojeda is going to go wide and high right round the outside. It's going to be a long run down to turn 2 for Jaden Ojeda. But wow, have a look at this start for Lockie Hughes.
It was actually Aaron Love that got the great start there, Daz.
That is too, sorry,
he's
the blue
up in front.
Yeah.
Lockie Hughes got a fair bit of wheel spin on the outside. He's dropped back now to around about 5th place, 4th or 5th place.
Ooh, a little bit of bumping in the mid-pack there too. You don't want to connect wheel to wheel in these things. It'll tear it off. There's Jaden Ojeda and Ryan Sewell side by side. Title protagonists, those two, getting racing with each other very early on in this second race.
Well, Ryan Sewell losing 7 points on Jaden Ojeda yesterday, which makes that gap down the championship 28 points. So really important that Ryan Sewell finishes in front of Jaden in this race and the remaining 4 races of the championship to try and bring that gap back.
Oh, no, that's not going to do what he wants to do for Ryan Sewell. That's just paid everything you were talking about, Tony, as Ryan Sewell goes off onto the dirt, bounces across the track. Lucky to avoid any contact with anyone coming on. But what it was also was that Jaden Ojeda followed him off. He managed to not put the full 4 wheels off like the Ray White entry did, but he got dirty tyres in the process there for Jaden Ojeda. He really is the one with the ascendancy at the moment, isn't he, Jaden Ojeda? He's the one that's getting the race wins, and he's got the confidence running with him. Well, we've got some big streaming on the straight there, and this is for down in the minors. Right down in the minors, Dave Tones, Thomas Smith, Artie Jonick getting very racing with each other. Thomas Smith there, the SCT Logistics car, and they are still going to bump tyres with each other all the way down into turn 2. Wow, that was some pretty wild stuff in the straight here at Sydney Motorsport Park for the Camps Pace Australian Formula 4 Championship.
Modus Finance leaderboard has Aaron Love in front ahead of Jackson Walls, who was our pole sitter. Jaden Ojeda now moves up to 3rd. He started in 5th, Lockie Hughes. He started 2nd, down to 4th now. They're our top 4 in this race. Let's have a look at what happened here right there, Daz. Jaden Ojeda did follow him off. That's Ryan Sewell, the car that went right off and on its side at the hairpin. Made its way back onto the track now.
In fact, Thomas Smith had the wildest ride out of them. He got airborne off the back of that.
He did.
It's very easy done. Oh, Jaden Ojeda goes off again. Exactly the same spot as where we saw them go off last time round. And that tyre's got a bit of scarring on it at the back of Jaden Ojeda's car there. It might have been just some dirt blowing off, but it had a changed colour across the middle of the tyre, which is something to watch out for with open wheelers, because you can see that start to change. So let's hope he hasn't cut that surface of that tyre up at all, because that will soon delaminate if he's done that. So let's hope that he can keep going, because Jaden has got a championship to win. And they stream down. Well, what an action-packed opening couple of laps here. We've had cars off in the dirt, we've had cars airborne, we've had them 3 wide almost into the pit lane wall off the start, and we've only just started lap 3.
Can someone just remind these guys that it's not the final race of the season? There's still 4 more to go, including 3 in New Zealand, coming up in a few weeks' time.
I have no complaint, Tony. This is what open wheel racing's all about. There's a big spin in the background there. That's the 50.
Artie Jonick.
Artie Jonick. On debut at Phillip Island.
Who's used to dirt racing.
He is a speedway racer. So he's found the gear and just pegged it and got out of there. This is open wheeler racing. This is what it should be about. It should be frantic.
A few concerned faces down at the Team BRM garage.
Yes, well, after Winton, where there was a fair bit of damaged bodywork and componentry, they don't want to be throwing more componentry at these cars, that's for sure. Gets expensive.
This is great for Aaron Love. It's been a really consistent season for him. Finished predominantly in the top 3 in most races this year, behind either Jaden Ojeda or Cameron Shields or Ryan Sewell for that fact as well. But he's been thereabouts, finished on a lot of podiums, and has had a win already in 2018. We'd love to see him get a second one. Of course, the brother of Jordan Love, who is racing around in the Porsche Wilson Security Carrera Cup Series. Will next be racing in that series up at Bathurst in 2 weeks' time.
There's the Team BRM outfit. Lots of experience in open wheelers. Formula 3. were very successful there, and continuing on with a lot of entries in Formula 4. And keep an eye on what BRM are doing, because pretty much everyone else around them is doing exactly that as well.
So it's a big weekend too for Aaron Love. I'm pretty sure he's a West Coast supporter coming from Perth. So his team getting through to the grand final next week. Absolutely nothing wrong with being a West Coast supporter.
You know what? They're going to have the nation behind them, because there's only going to be Collingwood supporters going for Collingwood. The rest of us will be going for West Coast.
Exactly right.
There's the Morris Finance leaderboard from 5th down to 8th. Zaid Tones, Thomas Smith, Josh Smith, Antonio Astuti rounding out the 8th there.
Speaking of West Coast supporters, Daniel Ricciardo was at the match yesterday, made his way back from Europe for the preliminary final, and has the issue now, and he did put it on Twitter, do I go back to Russia or do I stick around for the grand final?
Oh, he has no commitment to Red Bull anymore, does he?
That's what people were saying. Forget the rest of this year. Just get yourself ready for Renault and stick around for the grand final.
Yeah, that's it. Gee, imagine the court case off the back of that.
How good, though, is it that Daniel Ricciardo finds the time to come back to watch a bit of Aussie footy?
Yeah, of course. Well-grounded fella. Did his way through the junior ranks over in Europe.
Very much a part of the camps program as well, with the Ricciardo races that we have for our junior program. A lot of young kids get the opportunity to step into a car for the first time, and with Carl Reindler and the team, they get that opportunity to go through different skill sets and the like, and just get their first chance at finding out what it's like to be a racing car driver.
78 and the 31 battling it out now. This is for the lead. This is Aaron Love and Jaden Ojeda. This is the second battle pack, which is Jackson Walls and Lockie Hughes. He won a race at Winton. Jaden Ojeda's won a race pretty much everywhere we've gone so far this year. And Aaron Love leaving black stripes on the track there, giving it a good bootful through turn 4, running very, very wide. The clerk, of course, has been very, very deliberate in telling the drivers not to run wide there at turn 5. You'll get the one chance, and then they'll be all over you like a rash. So that has been a very clear warning out of drivers' briefings this weekend. So running wide, that is actually a pit entry lane there at turn 5. It's where the Aussie racing cars are coming out of this weekend. So you want to watch that. This is the battle for 3rd and 4th.
Good battle too. Jackson Walls and Lockie Hughes. They started on the front of the grid for this race. Were swamped very early on from the line by, well, especially Aaron Love. Jaden Ojeda has worked his way through from 5th. But a couple of good battles now starting to work their way through in this race. Ojeda and Love up the front for 3rd and 4th, Walls and Lockie Hughes. And then even behind those two, Tommy Smith, Josh Smith, Ryan Sewell starting to make his way back through the pack, up into 6th place now.
Well, the 31 goes high and wide. It's not going to work. In fact, that could have ended in tears out on the dirty track out there. But Ojeda under brakes. He's going to sweep around the outside. He's got a long way to travel. Puts him on the inside for 3. And this will be signed, sealed, delivered. Race lead for Ojeda. He set himself up nicely down the straight. Took a bit of a risk going wide through turn 1, but set himself up ultimately for the long way around to turn 3. And it's got him the race lead.
He's already had 2 clean sweeps of the season. That happening at Queensland Raceway and also at Phillip Island for Jaden Ojeda, winning all 3 races in those 2 rounds. Looking to do the same here at Sydney Motorsport Park after taking a win yesterday.
Aaron Love looks to be battling with the wheel there. He's having multiple adjustments of the steering wheel. It's the great thing about open wheeler racing. You can see the hands doing what they do, and he's having multiple jabs at that turn 6, which years ago used to have a little left and right there. They've taken that out. It's a pure left-hander now, dog leg that they took out of there. So soaring away at the wheel there, trying to get the front tyres to do exactly what he wants to do. Really cool that we can see that that's going on from the pictures.
There's Jackson Walls and his Petrucci course mobile. Behind him, Lockie Hughes. He had a win at Winton a few weeks ago, his first win of the year. Of course, leading the Burson Rookie of the Year award as well, ahead of Zaid Tones in 2nd place.
Have a look at that. Jaden Ojeda got in front about 3/4 of a lap ago. It's now out over half a second to Aaron Love. In fact, Aaron Love's just pegged it back slightly. So he's having a good run. Have a look at this. These two are getting into a big duel here. Jackson Walls hanging on, both of them moving the cars on the tyres. Their big slide. Jackson having a good look in the mirror there to see where the number 15 is. It's right there, mate. The yellow and black nose is right up the back of your gearbox. Eyes forward at this point in time. Still 5 laps to go, so still plenty to play out for. Here's the battle back down with the SCG car of Thomas Smith and Josh Smith. So Josh goes through this time round. Thomas was holding the lead in that battle. So the Cam's Rising Star entry goes through, and that will be for 8th place on the road as the number 16 now sits down in 8th. Antonio Studi just up the road from these guys as well. And he's driven well, came off the back of the grid, up to 7th place now.
Aaron Love has also a championship position to worry about as well. Currently 4th in the championship behind Joe Nojada, Ryan Sewell and Cameron Shields. But a good weekend here for Aaron Love could see him jump from 4th in the championship to right behind Ryan Sewell in 2nd. We know Cameron Shields isn't here this weekend. Aaron Love currently has taken 13 points off the gap between himself and Ryan Sewell in 2nd. That gap was 31. So that comes back down to 18 points with a race to go and 3 in New Zealand. So Aaron Love making sure he picks up maximum points this weekend to keep his chance of a runner-up in the championship alive.
Pensive looks down there in Team BRM. They know something we don't know. It's something about to bust loose. They're very, very concentrating on this battle.
Well, there guys that they're watching are Aaron Love, Lockie Hughes and Zayd Tones, currently sitting in 2nd, 4th and 5th. Josh Smith also under the Team BRM banner. Joe Nojada for AGI Sport up the front.
And doing a good job now. That's out over 1.5 seconds, so he's got in the lead of the race. Love stayed with him for the best part of 3/4 of a lap. Now Ojeda stamping his authority on the Formula 4s. The Cam's Pace Australian Formula 4 Championship. And we saw him stranded at Symmons Plains. We saw him stranded on trackside at Winton so far this weekend. He's doing a good job of getting out in front of these races. Jackson Walls now. He's in P3. Lockie Hughes right in behind. This is a ripper battle. And it looks as though Zayd Tones and Ryan Sewell are slowly starting to gather these two up.
Yep, there could be a race in 4 very, very shortly. Back there for 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th. Ryan Sewell has made his way after heading off the track from the back of the pack up to 6th place now. Up the inside, up the outside now for Lockie Hughes on Jackson Walls. Can he get it done? No, Walls just enough power to hold on. Lockie Hughes off through the Morris Finance sign and rejoins the track unscathed. That could have been a lot worse.
Quick plug there for Morris Finance on the way through there, Tone. I like that. Good pick up, but it certainly hurt him. Jackson really did have a big understeer at 2 there and was lucky that they both didn't drive off. It was just on the exit of that corner that it all fell away for Lockie Hughes. And this is getting very racy. Ryan Sewell making up a spot there. Goes through on Zayd Tones. Zayd Tones carrying a number with a huge amount of weight on it. The number that Alan Jones won his championship with. Casey Stoner winning multiple MotoGP championships is number 27. Here it is again. Jackson certainly didn't drive him off. He was just holding onto his line. And Lockie Hughes just ran out of track.
Certainly did. Back to our leader, Joe Nojada, doing it nicely now. 3-second gap, or thereabouts 2.5 seconds between himself and Aaron Love. As you can see, Aaron Love in the background, led for the first few laps of the race. And with just a couple to go now, Joe Nojada looking to secure win number 11 for 2018.
There's that scarring on that tyre of Ojeda again. There's something not quite right on that rear tyre.
Seemed to be affecting him that much, Daz.
Yeah, he's leading the race, but you never know what's going to happen if he's scarred the tyre like that. And off goes Artie Jonick. Spent a bit of time going off in this race. Number 50 there. He's right down the bottom end of the field.
Very much a learning year for Artie Jonick, a boy who's been involved with dirt racing, speedway racing for all of his life. All of his racing life, as short as that may be, and finally finds himself on tarmac for 2018 with his first race at Phillip Island just a few months ago. So still very much getting the hang of tarmac racing.
So Jaden Ojeda, strong lead at the moment, out over 3.5 seconds now. And this is this battle now. What can Lockie Hughes drag back from Ryan Sewell? Because Ryan Sewell's been frantically trying to drag something back out of this race. After having a terrible start to it, he's brought himself back up to P4 with only a lap and a half left to go. So he doesn't want to disappear any backwards again after all the hard work. Jackson Walls is just a little bit up the road. And it appears as though Lockie Hughes doesn't have too much more to fight back with. With the main straight and 1 lap left to go.
And in that 1 lap, Ryan Sewell would love to pick up an extra place if he can. You can see, well, he has to for points-wise. At the moment, he's 23 points behind Ojeda in this round alone. Add to that the 21 points in the gap of the championship before the start of the weekend. 44 points is the margin now between Ojeda and Ryan Sewell in the championship. So picking up this place in front of him, that's the 3rd place held by Jackson Walls at the moment, would be just another little milestone, I suppose, in bringing that gap back.
It's the Morris Finance leaderboard on the final lap. Jaden Ojeda, Aaron Love, Jackson Walls, and back on the Morris Finance leaderboard in 4th place is Ryan Sewell. Lockie Hughes, Zaid Tones, Antonio Astudi, and Josh Smith in 8. And it's Thomas Smith and Artie Jonick, who's now gone down a lap. Our race leader, bringing it around the final half a lap. Looking closely at that tyre. There's definitely some sort of damage in the middle of that left-hand rear tyre as he comes up the hill to the last complex as the big run down the Sydney Motorsport Park straight to complete lap number 2.
So, with 1 turn to go for our leader, Jaden Ojeda on his home track here at Sydney Motorsport Park. He brings it home for AGI Sport and takes win number 11 for 2018. Jaden Ojeda takes the checkered flag. 2nd win of the weekend for him. Aaron Love in 2nd place. Tight for 3rd, up the inside, Sewell trying, but Jackson Walls able to hold on by the barest of margins. Front wheels was about it. Jackson Walls takes 3rd, Ryan Sewell 4th.
Ryan Sewell had to do that. He had to throw everything at that to just stay in contention for this title. And good on him for driving it all the way to the line there. He's got to send a clear message to the rest of the opposition that he's here to win it because he's chasing this guy, the car number 31. O2sensors.com.au and blazing down the side pods of that car.